All right, here we go. This is evaluating expressions in order of operations, video number 2. So if you haven't already watched that video number 1, make sure you stop and do that first. So yesterday, should have been yesterday, you got through about here on your notes. So now we're going to be starting with order of operations. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right. So order of operations, you probably heard of PEMDAS before, but here we say GEMDAS because there are more grouping symbols than just parentheses, okay? And so what that refers to is the grouping symbols is we need to do what's inside the grouping symbols before we do anything else, okay? And grouping symbols, so yes, there is parentheses, but there's also, we can have brackets. We could have square root symbol or radicand. Absolute value bars are considered a grouping symbol. A fraction, that's probably a big one. You know, if you have a fraction, we need to solve what's on the top and what's on the bottom before we do any dividing. Okay? So, and there's more than just those, but those are just some common grouping symbols that you'll see. All right? And then after grouping symbols, we have exponents. And then, as you can see, multiplication and division are kind of written side by side. All right, and I wrote a little note here that I want you guys to copy down. Pause the video if you need to. When you have just multiplication or division left in the problem, if that's all you have, you just want to solve left to right. Okay, and that's the same with addition and subtraction. So if you simply had, I don't know, 4, it doesn't matter the numbers, 4 times 6 divided by 2 times 8 times 10 divided by 2. That didn't look very good. Divided by 2. So if all you have left is multiplication and division left in your problem, you're going to just solve left to right. Okay? And the same thing with addition and subtraction. If these were the same numbers and I had addition and subtraction symbols, we're just going to solve like we read left to right. Okay? All right, so let's practice some of these. So I've written out a few practice problems here. All right, we're going to simplify these expressions using GEMDAS. And so I like it to just kind of write GEMDAS on my paper. If you want to put the M and the D next to each other and the A and the S, that would be fine, just to remind yourself that those are kind of like equals. But what I like to do is just go through and look at the problem and say, all right, is there any grouping symbols? And actually in this problem we have 2. Okay, we have the parentheses here, but the actual fraction itself is a grouping symbol. So we got to make sure that we solve all fully on top before we divide by 50. Okay. And then what I wanted to address a little bit further is, so we have these parentheses. Okay, so some students might say, okay, well, we have parentheses, so that must mean I need to do 3 times 25 first. But the grouping symbols really mean we need to solve inside the grouping symbols before we move on. And inside these parentheses is just the number 25. There's nothing to do. There's no operation that we need to do with that. It's just 25. All right. So we can move on and go to exponents. Are there any exponents? Yep, there's this 5 squared. So 5 squared is, and that's not 5 times 2, that's 5 times 5. Remember from yesterday. So that is 25. So I'm just going to kind of update this problem here. I have 3 parentheses 25 plus 25 over 50. And now I have multiplication or addition. I need to multiply before I add. So I get 75 plus 25 over 50. And I want to solve completely on top first. So 75 plus 25 is 100. And 100 divided by 50 is 2. All right, so there's my final answer for that one. All right, moving on. Oops. There we go. All right, we have this whole big thing here. So I like to, again, look back here. I've got GEMDAS written out over here. Do I have grouping symbols? Yeah, I've got these brackets. But now, I kind of imagine I'm inside these brackets. That's all I'm looking at. I kind of have to start over here. Do I have any more grouping symbols? Yes, I do. So I need to do the 9 minus 5 first. Okay, so let's kind of update this problem. 9 minus 5 is 4. There we go. That's our first step. All right, and we still have to solve inside these brackets. So what's the next thing to do? We've got subtraction or exponents. What we need to do exponents first. So let's square 4 times 4. So that's 16. So let's go ahead. That we get 4 squared is 4 times 4. There we go. We've got 20 minus 16. We need to do that first. So we are finally left with 8. And in the brackets, all we have left is 4. All right. And anytime when you have a number next to another number that's in either brackets or parentheses, if there's no symbol in between, we know that means multiply. So this is 8 sets of 4, or 8 times 4, which is 32. All right. All right, now evaluating expressions. This is where we just need to substitute the number in for the letter and then solve. Okay. So I like to, when I substitute, I like to substitute in with parentheses. So I have 6, 11 in parentheses. Don't forget to square it. Minus 13. All right. So in this problem, I have multiplication. I've got exponents, and I've got subtraction. So I need to do the exponents first. So I need to square that 11. Okay, so that's 11 times 11, which is 121. So if I update this problem, I get 6 times 121 minus 13. Okay, and now I have multiplication or subtraction. I need to do the multiplication first, and 6 times 121 is 726 minus 13. 726 minus 13 is 713. There we go, final answer. All right, hopefully this is making sense for you. Why don't you guys pause the video and try to solve these two problems. Okay, I'm going to use a different color here. I should have done that before. Okay, so this is evaluating. So we need to substitute out x and put 4 in there. So I've got 4 raised to the third power minus 2 raised to the second power over 5 parentheses 4. All right, so what do I need to do first? I need to do the exponents. Okay, even though I have these grouping symbols, right, there's nothing to do inside them. So if I wrote this out, this is really 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, minus 2 times 2. And we might as well write the bottom out. All right, so now that we've done that, we can go ahead and solve here. 4 times 4 times 4 is 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64 minus 2 times 2, 4 over 5 times 4, 20. All right, now we got to make sure we do, you're going to get some pretty ugly answers if you tried to divide 64 by 20 and then negative 4 by 20. We want to, because like I said before, a fraction is a grouping symbol, so we want to solve the top and the bottom first. So 64 minus 4 is 60. And now we can divide that. 60 divided by 20 is 3. All right, there's our final answer there. All right, last problem here. You've got h minus k parentheses 2 minus 2. Okay, so h is 4 minus k, which is 2, parentheses 2 minus 2. All right, so what do we got to do here first? We've got some grouping symbols. Okay, so we got to do that first. 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, so let me update this problem. 4 minus 2, parentheses 0. Okay. Now I have subtraction and multiplication. I need to multiply before I subtract, right? So negative 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, or you could think about that as 4 minus, and just see what that is equal to. 4 minus 0 is 4. Okay, so your final answer here is 4. Now if I would have done that the opposite way, right, if I would have gone just left to right and did 4 minus 2, well that's 2, and then 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, so that's a good example of how you're going to get the wrong answer if you do not follow GEMDAS. All right, so that is it for notes for this week. So the rest of this unit is going to be working on the rest of these practice problems. I asked you guys to try to get problems 1 through 10 done. So if you could continue to work on 11 through 20, that would be great. All right, see you in the next video.